Welcome to Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins, inspiring and teaching everyday people how to create, live, and fund a life worth smiling and talking about. I believe the best way to do that is to become an entrepreneur. My name is Nancy Gaskins and I am your host. All our shows are recorded and archived so you can listen and learn online all year long, 24/7. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and you're also invited to join us each Friday from 11:30 to 1 Central Standard Time for our weekly Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday event. Come bring a 30-second elevator pitch, an irresistible offer, and come prepared to earn as you learn how to grow your business using this exciting new economy called virtual marketplaces. The current COVID crisis was a wake-up call for many people. It showed us just how vulnerable we were if we're relying on only one stream of income. In particular, if that one stream of income was a job. There's never been a better time than now to dust off those dreams to become an entrepreneur. I am encouraging everybody I know, everybody within my sphere of influence, to consider owning and operating your own business. If you're already a business owner, maybe you've just been playing small, I encourage you to join a mastermind. Start thinking outside the box rather than in to discover a variety of creative ways that you could be also growing your business over the next 12 months. Home-based business opportunities, work from home, and multiple streams of income are three very hot search topics right now on the internet. Why? Because people are looking for affordable options like never before. COVID did that to a whole lot of people. They woke up one day and all of a sudden they were scrambling to find ways that they could keep their lights on and keep their mortgage paid. And a variety of them, guess what they did? They turned to entrepreneurship. So I've decided to do something a little bit different this fall. I'm teaming up with some entrepreneurs from around the globe. We'll be discussing their entrepreneurial journeys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. These are real people just like you and I who've agreed to share their stories in hopes of inspiring you and encouraging you to follow your entrepreneurial dreams. Now, I have to remind you, it's not always sunshine and roses, nor can we promise you that you're going to make $1 million, throw it in the bank account. But for most of us, it's a lifestyle full of potential and possibilities. And for that, we can't put a price tag on that. I've been sharing over the last couple of weeks, and I'll continue, these 4 statistics that everybody needs to be aware of. Listen for the opportunity in each one of these. Number 1, 48% of Americans have the dream to own and operate their own business. Number 2, 51% who launch are over 50 years of age. Number 3, 69% start their businesses from home. Number 4, the average startup is $10,000. Now, 48% of Americans have the dream to own and operate their own business. Chances are people around the world have the same statistic, if not higher. 51% who launch are over the age of 50. Why do you think that is? Well, you get involved, you start out, you've got all these dreams of being an entrepreneur, and then life takes hold. You get married, start having a family, you need a regular paycheck, and you kind of throw those dreams to the wayside. Then you wake up one day and you're empty nest, the kids are all gone off to college, and you start thinking about becoming a self-actualized person. You start thinking, what was it that I wanted to do when I grow up? What are some of the dreams? How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this next chapter of life? And so that's why I think you have so many people that are over 50 years of age. Besides needing to supplement their income, just following their hearts and following their dreams. The next one, 69% start their business from home. The reason that I think that happens is because, well, it's cheap to start from home. You don't have to have a brick and mortar place anymore. You can do it with the onset of the internet and social media and all of this stuff. We don't have to have the budgets for big corporations anymore. We can be small mom and pops and look like we are a global business. Last but not least, the average startup is $10,000. For some, that doesn't sound like very much money, but for most families, $10,000 may as well be $1 million because they just don't have it. One thing that showed us that is how many people were looking forward to that stimulus check of $1,200 coming in their bank accounts, right? How many people were scrambling after they heard that they couldn't go to work for a week or 2 or 30 days or 60 days? Why? Because they did not have their 30, 60, 90, 3 to 6 month emergency fund set up. They wasn't prepared. So they were screaming about, how horrible this was. So with that said, think about those 4 statistics. What's that spell to me? That sounds like nothing but tons of opportunity for you and I, right? Everybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, I hope each and every one of you do. So on today's episode, we're going to meet Miss Olivia Vo. I met this little firecracker back in May, and let me tell you what, I have loved watching her blossom and bloom, and she is a dynamo for sure. She's been doing some great training for our network for the past couple of months, and everybody has just given her tons of kudos, so I'm excited to bring her to you today. So Olivia is a dynamic technical recruiter with Donnelly and Moore Corporation, an IT consulting and recruiting firm located in New York City. She loves recruiting technologists for cutting-edge IT projects for clients in the utilities and energy industry. Welcome to the show, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you for having me on the show.
So take a few minutes and tell us about your story. Share it. How you become an entrepreneur, how'd you get into your current business, and what is your big, bodacious dream for your business?
All right, so let's tackle each one here. So I've been a corporate recruiter now for the past 10 years, and entrepreneurship is new to me. However, I really credit my managers for instilling the entrepreneur mentality, even though I'm working at a company. So for example, as a recruiter, I'm responsible for the job requisitions that are coming in, reading through the job descriptions, marketing the job out by posting them on different career sites, and finding candidates and attracting them to the role and describing the role in detail, marketing the end client, marketing the project to them. And then, of course, advising these job candidates through the application process, through the interview stages, and then once they're selected, to walk them through the onboarding process, getting the background checks done. So because I have that kind of complete control over my recruiting desk, it's kind of like running my own mini business. And I'm paid, salary and commission. So of course, the more effort I put into my recruiting and my marketing efforts for these job postings on behalf of clients, the more money I'm able to make based off commission. So I think that's what really inspired me. And with my entrepreneurship journey, COVID hit. So I think we all have a COVID story. My COVID story is that right in March, when COVID occurred, I saw a drastic decline in my recruiting business. And so one of the biggest impacts is that hiring just stopped. A lot of the hiring managers put a pause on their budgets, and so they're not releasing as many job requisitions as they would be. And we also had to transition the entire consulting workforce to now remote and working from home, and making sure that they had connectivity at home, and also making sure they had the proper equipment to still continue doing their jobs. And fortunately for me, I was able to keep my consultants. So many stories I've heard of being consultants were the first to be let go because of COVID. But in my case, that didn't happen. I was still able to build relationships with clients, helping them work through this pandemic and setting up, communication protocols now for remote workers. And unfortunately, for many of my recruiting colleagues in other companies, there was like 5 to 15% salary reduction. So very grateful for my, managers and leadership team that I was able to see through the pandemic. However, it was a bit of a wake-up call. I realized that, I'm not able to just rely on the recruiting industry because so much of the landscape has changed. Typically, we see these trends in recruiting where March, April, May is our busiest months, and then COVID just like wiped that out. So we are, in transition mode for sure. So as a result of COVID, I did find lots of virtual networking events, and they truly changed my life. I love going to seminars, live events. However, who has the time to, take time off from work, get on an airplane and get to your conference? And so now they're being offered live in my own living room. So I fully took advantage. And one of the events that I attended, and I met you there, Nancy, was Laura Landmeyer's virtual marketplace and meetup. And it was incredible just to be in a room full of entrepreneurs. And I found within myself this ability to create a product or service from my own expertise and actually being able to sell it. And it was so liberating to be able to come up with the solution. So many of these, business, small business owners, entrepreneurs, consultants, coaches, subject matter experts were coming into these networking events. And I realized that they didn't have much of a presence on LinkedIn. And probably because they think of LinkedIn as just like a job finder site. This is where you go to put your CV. This is where you go to network with hiring managers. And that's not the case anymore. I mean, LinkedIn has released some tremendous new features and functions to really help you brand your offers, your products, your services, not only to B2B, but B2C, and also just helping you find a new audience, with you being a value added expert, providing some knowledge and training that you can share to help other people who are seeking personal development or professional development on LinkedIn. And so as a result of that, I realized that I could create a business for myself, a side hustle, if you will, to train, entrepreneurs and small business owners on how to get involved with LinkedIn and how to really analyze their profile for better optimization, how to create strategic posts to engage with the audience and find, new leads for their own business. And not only that, but high level leads, because 40% of LinkedIn users are high-level executives, decision makers with disposable income. So did I cover everything?
You did. And one of the
Okay.
neatest things that she's been doing each week as she comes into our Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday event is each week she's been highlighting, she's been taking one of our members, and she did a great job. She has this great template that she gave everybody of these little homework assignments, and she told you how long each one would take. So if you had an extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that, you could go right down the list. You didn't have to do them in order. So ever how much spare time that you had, because I know a lot of people is really busy, and I thought that was really outstanding. Another thing that she's got is she's got this sheet that she's helping, but she went through this LinkedIn step by step, and each week she brought one little tip back to the group, and she showed, and she put one of our members out there on expose so we could all kind of see the before and after. And I think our group just really, really loved that. And she's gotten, like I said, tons of great reviews and testimonials now. So we all highly recommend her and just love what you've been doing. And frankly, you are the LinkedIn authority. And I love that you've been able to brand yourself as such. So when you're out there looking at this as a business model, how many other LinkedIn trainers are there out there? Do you know?
Oh my gosh. So here I am thinking that I'm creating this new niche for myself. And then, of course, you've got to search, toolbar and LinkedIn. So I just typed in, LinkedIn expert, LinkedIn authority, and so many results came up. Like there is over 1 million LinkedIn trainers with that keyword. LinkedIn coaches threw up another like 300,000. And so I had a very brief moment of like insecurity. It was like, oh gosh, like what am I doing? I'm too late to the game. Everyone has been doing this so far ahead of me. And I really just had to take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm just going to create my little following, dedicate myself to a networking platform like our Lunch and Learn Zoom Fridays, and just really focus on this particular segment, getting referrals out of them, and just teaching what I know. So there's enough piece of the action, I suppose, for everybody. And I think that's really important as an entrepreneur to have an abundant mentality, that there's enough LinkedIn to go around. Everybody gets a piece of the pie. For example, with 675 million users on this platform, I'm sure I can get my own following, my own audience. And so I'm very happy that there are people who are willing to take my advice and implementing it and taking action. I did want to just go back to the other point. It just occurred to me about where I want to take my business. And it's right. You're right, Nancy. I've created like these templates, these resources. However, I've gotten feedback too from clients that it feels like a chore, it just feels like just one more thing they got to do. And my goal is just to show you how people can have fun on LinkedIn. And so I've actually created, as a result of that feedback, a 5-module training course that will launch in September. And this is where I'm going to be doing LinkedIn with you. So for example, we will be meeting once a week for 1 hour over the course of the month, okay? And it's a distraction-free zone where I'm gonna show you, okay, this is how we change your photo, and we do it all together. So I think having just a LinkedIn accountability program will really help people and show them that they can implement these changes right away and see results.
So what are 3 things that people can do today to get started on their LinkedIn profile? What is it that you recommend they do first?
Absolutely. So to get started, definitely take a look at your cover banner, cover photo. That's the prime real estate at the very top. And then your actual headshot. Okay, so that's number 1. Because without a professional photo, it's equivalent to having like a paper bag over your face, right? So, people, take visual cues. And so that's the first thing that they're looking at, who you are, what you look like. And this does not mean that you have to go out to a fancy studio and get a professional headshot done. There are many tips that you can Google online to how to take a professional headshot at home, and just against a white background. And of course you can use photo effects, different tools to lighten that image or whatever. And then I would also recommend going to royalty-free websites such as pixabay.com and pexels.com to find royalty-free images that you can use for your banner. Find something that speaks to you or expresses in a way like what you do. So for example, I worked with a client, he's like Mr. Travel Guy, and so he went on these sites and found photos of like families traveling because he wanted to convey that ability to be able to consult, to be able to offer consulting services on travel, especially now with COVID. And the second thing that's an action item would be your headline. So big announcement, you now have 220 characters for your headline. And so you want to just catch someone's attention, put in something very savvy, explaining who you are, what you do, and maybe a call to action. And this is really important because every activity that you do on LinkedIn, whether it's commenting or posting, that headline follows you. So you want to, just have it captivating enough so that when people see it pop up, they're intrigued to click on your profile. And that's what we want them to do. So then the third item is your about section. So again, prime real estate for you to promote your services, who you help or what you do. I always recommend to people to have like an engaging conversation by posing 3 questions right away at the very top. 3 questions to get the reader of your profile to really start thinking about their situation, how this matches them, and then reading further through the about section about your services, what you do, and then again, a call to action with your complete contact information, how they get in touch with you. So there are sections of LinkedIn where you have your contact information, but rather than having people click out of your about section, why not just put it right there in there and make it super easy for them to find like your Calendly booking link, your phone number, your email, etc. And have a call to action that could be simple like, hey, let's see if we can get together for a virtual coffee, or book a discovery call, or book your free consultation with me. So always keep in mind what you want to prompt the people to do.
Hashtags have become very popular, and I think kind of started those out on Twitter. And then people started moving over to Facebook and didn't know how to use them because Facebook couldn't use them for a while, which I guess now you can, right? So, and now we have LinkedIn hashtags. So give us some tips on using hashtags.
Absolutely. I love hashtags. And what I recommend to my clients is have a personalized hashtag that's unique to them, incorporating their name, for example. And the reason why you want to do this is because whenever you post and you're including that hashtag, LinkedIn is going to curate them all into like a separate section. So it becomes like a mini blog within LinkedIn. And so, for example, I, have a client, her name is Liz. And so I said, well, anytime you're posting about motivation or success mindset, why not use like hashtag Liz lessons, right? So she loved that. So every time she's posting those topics, she's using that hashtag. Another client of mine, Dwayne, he has a really long name, Dwayne Richards. And so he's, tax tips expert. So he has hashtag insights from DR, which is just his initials. And so that's really fun. So I recommend a personalized hashtag of your own. That way you can brand it on LinkedIn. And there's several ways to promote this. For example, you can even like create a post explaining, how you came up with this hashtag and what it means. And if they enjoy your content, be sure to follow that hashtag to make sure that you're up to date with all their postings and information. And what I also love is creating a promotional video, so creating a promotional video to say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm going to start using this hashtag, let's say hashtag Olivia Amazing. And, please follow me for tips on advice about how you can boost your LinkedIn optimization. And so it just gives people, again, another reason to follow you and a direction, right? Where to go, because sometimes your posts may not always show up their feed, but if they're a fan of yours, they can always, say that hashtag and follow you there.
That reminded me about that little pitch that you told us about the other day, the new thing on the app. You want to tell them about that little tip about your voicemail?
Yes. So LinkedIn is awesome for desktop, and you can also download the LinkedIn app on your phone, whether you have an iPhone or an Android. And so within the app, there's a section where you can add a name pronunciation, and it records your name. So keep in mind, this is something that they released to help people, be able to pronounce names. And however, they're giving you 10 seconds. So I don't know about you, but it doesn't take 10 seconds to say your name. So what else could you be creative with in using that? So I've seen some pretty interesting examples of people adding music intros and outros to their name, having a friendly greeting, and even just pitching themselves. But again, you have to keep it in 10 seconds. So I think it's a lot of fun. Of course, you want to make sure you're saying your name loudly, clearly, so people can pronounce it. And then, the rest of the seconds, maybe adding something that's unique to you, having a little bit of a personality.
All right, let's dig in the trenches just a minute here. What are some tips and advice that you'd like to give somebody that's interested in becoming an entrepreneur?
Yes, so many. So the first thing I would say is really stick to your vision. For me, starting out, I'm just so dazzled and tempted by all the different tools and tricks and programs and consulting services that are available for someone like me starting out. And it can be really overwhelming and tempting, to fall into that and signing up for everything. And there are many people who mean well, and they see potential in me, they see potential in what I'm doing, and they want to help fast track me. However, I think at the end of the day, it's really important to stick to my vision, to stick to what I believe and how I want to shape my business and my journey. And I think so often, we're tempted to have these shortcuts to business. And so, yes, tools are there to help you become more efficient, etc. But at the same time, I'm going through this process because it's meant for me. And so there's no bypassing this process. I do have to go through the journey. The other comment I want to make is, I really believe in modeling behavior or modeling excellence and seeing what other people are doing. So for example, I did that search for other LinkedIn trainers, and I follow them. I follow them to see how they are posting, how they're engaging the audience, to get ideas. And sometimes you can get in a trap where you're comparing yourself to them, and they're experts in their field. And so I found myself in that particular trap. It's oh my gosh, I can never do what so and so does. I love Brenda Meller, I love Rhonda Shear and Angus Grady, and so many people, Jeff Young on LinkedIn. And I really value how they've shaped their business and whole persona around becoming a LinkedIn guru or expert. And so I follow them to get ideas, and I find ways to cooperate with them. So not just the competition, but to cooperate with them. And I think it was Mark Halpert that had this great phrase, is it's not about competition, it's about co-opetition. So if I come from that mindset and approach from that mindset, being willing to learn, taking what's out there, putting my own spin on it, and then teaching it to my audience, I think that's what's really helped me. So it's fine to model after people and going after other influencers and seeing how they do things, but at the same time making sure that it's not a way for you to feel like you're comparing with them, right? So as long as you don't compare yourself with them, and the only thing I can do is just compare myself to how I was yesterday and making sure I'm progressing. And then lastly, I think just how we talk to ourselves. And so having, positive self-talk is really important. There are times when I felt like lonely or down or insecure. And one thing I came across is whenever I am feeling those emotions, to acknowledge it, but then totally reframe it. So for example, I'll say to myself, okay, even though I'm feeling very insecure right now, I still choose to share my authentic gifts with the world. And so I think having that reframe really helps me, and hope it helps you too.
Great tips and advice. Love it. So, do you have any special offers for our listeners today?
Yes, I do. I'm so glad you asked. So I am, launching a 5-module LinkedIn training course in September. Our scheduled date is Tuesday, September 8th. So again, we meet once a week for 1 hour over the course of that month. And within these modules, you're going to work with me, and, be part of a group. And we're going to analyze your LinkedIn profile. We're going to learn how to optimize your postings and engagements, as well as customizing your connection requests, in order to level up your business and creating that presence for you on LinkedIn. So the offer is $297. And once you register, you will get an immediate free download. This is what I call the LinkedIn report card. So it's a fun assessment for you to kind of grade yourself on the top 10 areas of your LinkedIn profile. And once you do that, you can schedule a free consultation with me for 30 minutes to go through your grades and see where we can find areas of improvement while the course launches in September. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I can be found under www.linkedin.com/in/recruiter pro-Olivia. So feel free to connect with me, sign up for the offer, and I will send you my LinkedIn report card.
And
Thank you.
I'll also be putting your links in the description on this episode. So thank you, Olivia, for joining us today. Folks, you can join us next time as we explore a little further into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship, where we offer tips and advice on how everyday people just like you are building sustainable business models that can fund the life of your dreams. For those of you who already are in business, we'll help you discover a myriad of creative ways for you to pivot and grow your business even further. So tune in to learn how to avoid some of the most common pitfalls, and we'll also be answering some of the most pressing entrepreneurial questions. You can text those in to me at 850-499-7149, and we'll answer those on an upcoming show. You've been listening to a new episode called Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins. We inspire and teach everyday people how to create, fund, and live a life worth smiling and talking about. We believe the best way to do that is to become an entrepreneur. So we invite you to come join our tribe. Olivia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nancy. It was a pleasure.
Everybody have a great week. Talk soon.